Hi there, this is Jonny from Point Blank Online Music School. I'm back once more to show you some tricks and production techniques using Ableton Live 8 and sounds and samples from clickproduce.com. And tonight I'm working on a track. I wanted to do something like a kind of dance, like a classic kind of sounding dance track with some vocals. And Loop Masters have recently released a really cool pack of samples called Iconical Vocal Acapellas Volume 1, and this is perfect for what I'm trying to do here. What we've got, if I just go into this sound pack, we've got 7 different tracks, essentially 7 different songs, and these have all been freshly recorded exclusively for this pack, all royalty free, so you can use them either in little snippets, in little sections, or you can use the whole song in your productions if you choose to do that. And that's what I'm doing here. I've taken one of these folders, and if I just play some of these parts, we've got a set of vocals covering verses, choruses, and this is across, again, 7 tracks. So you've got an awful lot of vocals here, and it is really like kind of being able to remix all these songs in your own way. It's a really, really cool product. I've used the Circles one, and there are some nice vocals in here, and you'll notice that we've got essentially the same thing twice. We've got one without any effects, and if I just play this, and if I just play the same sample now, which is one below it with a W, that stands for wet. So this one's got effects on it. You might be able to hear the reverb on there. Let's listen to some of these other ones. So this is your kind of verse, and this is the dry version, and we got the same thing but with effects.
Like a circle, no beginning. Can't you show me how to break in?
So in many ways these are ready to go. You can just drag in the vocals with the effects on them, and they'll sound amazing straight away. I'm using the dry vocals because I kind of like to put my own effects on vocal samples or vocal tracks when I'm producing my music, and it's really good they've included those dry vocals in there. Now this set literally contains some of those elements, and I've actually got all the vocals from this section, from this particular folder, the Circles folder, in this set. And I've put in here a little drum beat, just using one of the built-in Ableton drum rack kits, the classic 909 kit. And I've made a little bass line using an analog device. And I'm going to show you how to put together a little lead synth using analog, and how I've kind of based the key of the bass and the key of the lead around the vocal based on the information that's given. I'm going to program it and show you how to create a really nice little plucky lead sound using the analog synth in Ableton. So these vocal clips are literally just dragged in from the browser, directly from the original folder, straight into arrangement view. I know they're recorded at 128 BPM, so that's what I've set Ableton's clock at. And the nice thing about these vocals is there's nothing to do. I can just literally throw them in there and then start cutting up certain sections, looping certain sections, and then when I feel I'm ready, adding my own effects. Now the drum beat, like I say, is just a 909 kit, and that's just one of the ready to go default drum rack kits that you find in Ableton. And for the bass part, what I've done here, I've programmed some MIDI clips, all just a single note to start with, and then I've kind of expanded on that as the track progresses. I'll play you that in a moment. But here we're just working on C# 2, and if I just turn the track on so we can hear it, there we go. Now I've kept it at that note simply because I know that's the key of the vocals. You can see there it's 128 C#, so all the music I've worked around C# here, including the bass. And I've just gone for a simple kind of pedal bass style, offbeat pattern for the bass note here. If I just open up the loop brace, cycle a longer section of the track, you can hear how I've expanded that bass part. Here at the end of this clip, just dropping down a few notes. And as we get towards essentially the chorus, I've just expanded that bass part again. Now what I want to do is add an analog lead part to this. I'm just going to create a MIDI clip, and a kind of shortcut, a good way to do this is to highlight a region on the timeline. And again, I've got analog here ready to go. I've got the default analog device. In fact, what I'll do, I've played with that a little bit. What I'll do, I'll load a default analog device in and just do this from the top. There we go. So there's a default analog device. And back on the timeline, I've highlighted a little region of the timeline. I'm just going to right click and insert MIDI clip. Now I'm going to click into that MIDI clip and find C#2, which is here. Now that's just the default analog. I'm going to go in and change that in a moment, but for now I just need to put a little pattern in, and I'm going to use my little Oxygen 8 controller keyboard here and just record something in. So I'm just going to cycle round this little clip just by hitting Command L, and just hit play and record. So there we go, I had a few notes. I actually played the wrong note in there. So let's get rid of that. And let's take this stuff, and I'm just going to cycle round that 2 bars there and crop. So that's what I recorded in. Now I just need to clean this up. As you can see, there's a little bit of discrepancy there in terms of where the notes start. So I'm just going to select all and quantize. Also, I played it too high up the register. I need to take that down to C2 sharp. There we are. That doesn't sound like too much right now, and I'm just going to move those notes around a little bit just so there's a little bit more kind of space in between them. And one of these notes, whoops, let me just undo that. One of these notes, I'm just going to pull that out so we get a longer note. Now at the moment it's not playing the full note because I need to go in here and just change some of these settings. And I'm also going to add an arpeggiator onto this device to give it a little bit of movement. But to start with, I just want to get a nice kind of pluck sound. So for this, I'm going to turn on filter 1, filter all the way down, and then turn the filter envelope up to +16. If I just solo the track for a second, you can hear that. And that filter envelope just means that we're getting a very quick open and close on the filter, and that gives the sound its kind of plucky texture. If I work on the decay value here, I can tighten that up even more and get a really nice effect. If I want to, I can open up that decay, maybe in the chorus, maybe close it down for the verse, or open up the filter frequency. So there's a few different things I could do to this sound. Now I've used the filter envelope to create its shape, so to speak. Now lastly on here, before I add the arpeggiator, I'm just going to switch on the unison and just detune it a little bit. And that gives you that nice kind of polished sound. Kind of leans it a little bit more towards electro as well. Okay, now the arpeggiator. And what this is going to do is bring in movement. So I'm going to go to Ableton's MIDI effects and just drag in a default arpeggiator. Now here, this is where that long note comes in, because all these other notes are real short. They're just little short notes that are just going to play and stop. But here I've kept the note long. I extended that note long. And this is where arpeggiator is going to kick in and really work on that note. I'm just going to bring the rate value up to 1/16. And now, if I go into the clip, you can see that when that long note plays, we're getting an arpeggiated pattern. Now all I need to do is get some melody movement. So I'm just going to bring the steps up to 2. And that's just giving us that nice little movement up the scale whenever that long note plays. What I might do actually is just go in and just extend another note as well. That sounds nice. So let's put that in now with the bass. And the beat. And I think what I might do is just lastly, just take out some of these notes and strip it down a bit. So that's my analog lead, and if I wanted to, I could add some effects. I think I've got, no, I haven't got any effects on this yet. Let's just load in a delay, just to give it a tiny little bit of polish. I'm going to load this onto one of the returns. Just bring the send up. And that's my lead. Let's put the vocals in too. So I've just put the delay on the vocal. Let's copy that part over, take the loop off. So there's my analog lead. Okay, you can learn loads more cool stuff like this at pointblankonline.net, and I'll be back next week to show you some more tricks with Ableton Live 8 and sounds and samples from clickproduce.com. Okay, peace.